Hey, what's up guys? It's Pedro here from newcoder.com, and welcome to part 8 of building our CRUD application from scratch. So in this tutorial, we're going to be making an HTTP post request using the fetch API. So if you remember from our previous tutorial, we coded this post route and we just gave it /. It's going to take data from the users. So we're going to have to post data back via the body. And you can see that it returns two things: the result, whether or not we successfully deleted the item or not. And it returns back the inserted document that we just inserted. So let's head over to index.html and let's actually code this. So from here, we're going to use our form that we have up here. So this is our form, and what we want to do is prevent the default form submission. So we're going to come down here, and I'm just going to say form.submit, and this is going to take in a function, and it's going to have an event. And what we're going to do is say e.prevent default from occurring. Next, we're going to call the fetch API. So I'm just going to say fetch. We're going to use our endpoint of /. The next argument is going to be our options. So the first option is we're posting data back to the server. I'm just going to say post. Our second property is going to be the body, what we're sending back to the database. So I'm just going to say json.stringify, and we're going to send back our to-do. So we're just going to use to-do, use our input, and we're going to get the value that our input field has at the moment. So now let me just move this over here. And the last option is we're going to have to pass in headers. And what a header is it tells the server what kind of content you're sending back to it. So I'm just going to say content type, and we're sending back JSON. Now from here, let's call the then method. So I'm just going to say then. We're going to get our response back from the server. We're going to return that response.json, which is going to be a promise that parses the data for us. We're just going to call it then on the promise that's being returned, and we're going to get our data back. Next, we're going to have to test to see whether or not we successfully inserted the document. I'm just going to say if the data result.ok is equal to 1 and data.resultN is equal to 1, that means our to-do was successfully inserted into our database. So I'm just going to say let IDs equal to build IDs, and we're going to pass in our document. Next, we're going to call the display method. So this is going to append a new list to our unordered list. And last but not least, we're going to have to attach our click events to our edit button. So I'm just going to call edit to do, which is a function we haven't created yet. And we're going to pass in our to-do ID, and the ID of our button. Then we're going to have to attach an event to our delete button as well. We're going to pass in our to-do, the list item ID. And the reason we're passing in the list item ID is because we need the ID of the list that we want to delete. And we're going to pass in the ID of the delete button. So for now, I'm just going to comment these two out because they don't exist at the moment. So right now we have display.append, and this looks good to me. And last but not least, once this successfully happens, what we want to do is actually reset our to-do's input. So let's actually test this out. So I'm just going to hit Control-Shift backtick. Let's clear the terminal, Node app. Let's open up a browser. So now let's actually test this out. So I'm just going to come up here and testing post. So I'm going to click the create button. And you can see that our to-do was successfully posted to the database. So I'm just going to hit refresh to see if it actually worked. and you can see that our data is persisting. So that's the basics of using the fetch API to post to the server.